Have you noticed that your grocery store's shelves are a little bit more bare? Perhaps the aisles are widened or they are rearranging your normal shelf space to have things that are maybe not everyone's favorite filling those shelves. Maybe they aren't filled as deep as normal. Today I want to talk about my own observations, show you a little bit of footage I took from my local grocery store and the actual pantry haul that I got in response to seeing some of these shortages. I went to my local Walmart yesterday. I had my twins with me and I intended to grab just 5 things. Just 5 things. I was gonna run in and run out. I wasn't even going to go to Walmart except I needed to get wall hangers and I couldn't get them from the corner grocery store nearest to my house. Well, I was walking through the grocery section and I noticed a couple of things. First, the aisles were much wider than they had been the last time I was there. It was noticeable because in the past I'd had to maneuver around people. So this got me really looking at the actual shelf space. And what I discovered was that they had rearranged most of the canned goods staples to hide the fact that there were shortages. Now, sometimes this happens when I know there's going to be a shipping delay. Sometimes these things happen when they're making room for seasonal decor, but often it's the opposite effect in that the shelves seem tighter, they seem more crammed. Not, they seem wider, they seem more expansive, and they seem less deep. In fact, this gave me a little bit of memories, a little bit of those same feelings from back when it was the Rona. Now, I didn't do a ton of in-store grocery shopping. I relied exclusively on grocery pickup at that time, but I will say I watched quite a bit of footage of people who did go into grocery shop, and the shelves in my local grocery store, and I live in the central part of North Carolina in a metropolitan area, they were looking bare, but not in a someone came in and bought a bunch of stuff, in a we're trying to hide how little product we can actually put on the shelves. Hello, if you're new here, my name is Brecky and this is Sustainable Prepping, where we empower through preparedness. Now you might be thinking I'm an alarmist and I want you to go out and spend several $100s on grocery staples. That's not actually what I want to do. I want to talk about the reality of what our actual grocery stores look like. Want you to do some observational reconnaissance and look at your own grocery stores next time you're in store and begin to make a plan for yourself. I responded to seeing some of these shortages with deciding to spend a little bit of extra money than I had planned, because I have it, to stock my pantries a little bit deeper than I'd had them. Not that I was in trouble. Those of you who've been around the channel know that I keep a 3-tier food storage system, which means I have my working pantry, which is about 8 weeks of food. I have a 90-day supply of dedicated food storage, and then I have about a 90-day supply of dedicated rice and bean storage. That's beyond that. So I have it in 3 layers: short-term, usable stuff, mid-term, annual rotation stuff, and long-term, set it and forget it for 10 years stuff. Now, I wasn't planning on making this video. I wasn't planning on doing another grocery haul. I just did one. I did a pantry walkthrough. I don't want this to be a grocery haul channel, but I did want you to see first what I saw. And what I saw was a real lack of beans. Oh my goodness, the lack of beans was startling. There were not a lot of black beans. There was not a lot of variety. What used to be 3 different sections of the store shelves. It used to be that a long shelf, a whole long aisle was made up of 4 or 5 long shelf sections. And for our local Walmart, there were 2 to 3 sections that was all beans. Now it was one section. It was not very well stocked. It was not deeply stocked. The variety was very low. It made me very concerned about why was the variety of beans so low? Then if you look at the fruit section was normally 2 of those shelving units in an aisle at least, and the fruit section was barely 1. It was not thick stocked. There was not a lot of variety. There was almost no Walmart brand fruit on the shelves. It was all the leftover fruit cocktail, the things that people aren't purchasing. So either there's a shortage somewhere and they haven't gotten those supplies. Someone came in the day they arrived and bought them all out of it, which is unlikely. Or there's a long-term shortage that's coming and they're just not able to restock. So they decided to minimize the placeholders and actually make their entire canned fruit section smaller. Now, this is startling for a couple of different reasons. If it was just picked over, I probably would have assumed there was a delay. Someone came in and did a bunch of shopping. We're sort of towards the beginning of the month of November where people are doing a bunch of shopping. But It wasn't like that. It wasn't that I looked like I came on the day before a shipment had arrived kind of a thing. That wouldn't have actually fazed me. That happens. Grocery stores only keep about 3 days worth of food because of the just-in-time delivery systems. What made me pause in the grocery store was the fact that they had already done the work of downsizing, and they had done the work of taking foods they had an abundance of, or at least a perceptible abundance of, and had restocked the shelves to make the shelves look fuller. They had clearly rearranged the store to make it look like there was an abundance when there wasn't. Now, I did not evaluate the dairy and I did not evaluate the meat sections. I didn't need those things, so I didn't think about going and looking. And I don't tend to buy my meat from Walmart. We buy in bulk from local farmers. I can't give you an evaluation on the fresh food front here in North Carolina, but in the canned food front and in the frozen food sections, there was an absolute clear lack. The frozen food section was the one where it was most startling because they had not been able to redo their sections to show that they were out. Now, there had been some big deals, so I do wonder if I'd come right behind a group of people who'd decided to purchase more because they had some things priced 10 or 15% lower than average price. This was some of their fruits, their frozen fruit, which is quite expensive. They'd had some good sales on and they were completely out. As you'll see in my haul, I did buy some frozen fruit, but I was picking the leftovers of what had already been purchased. And it was clear these shelves had not recently been emptied. It wasn't like there were empty boxes kind of floating around that somebody had come in and purchased $1,000 worth of frozen fruit for their winter baking needs. It was clear that there had been gaps, but they had not yet found a way to rearrange those frozen shelves to hide the fact that they didn't have enough. There was not any conventional spinach. I went ahead and since they were still under $1 a bag, I bought 5 bags of conventional, not organic mixed veggies. Those of you who've been around know that I will dehydrate these. They will not stay in my freezer long term. In fact, one of my homestead projects will be to dehydrate these. It's a wonderful way to use frozen vegetables. I'll put a link above so you can watch my whole process. You can do it for yourselves. It's really useful. You don't have to blanch the vegetables before you dehydrate them, which is useful. The point is, I responded with the decision to spend basically 3 times what I'd planned on spending because I had the money to layer in some things I knew were missing. Now, I will say I know that there's a couple things I forgot, like lemon juice. I was going to buy an extra bottle of lemon juice, and with the twins with me, I just completely forgot. Now, there could be some reasons for this, right? There could just be delays from warehouses getting to my local store. There could be delays from manufacturing problems. I have been keeping an eye out for recalls, though I haven't seen any of the particular items I saw that were limited on recall lists. So I don't believe that they had to pull things for recall. I also, like I said, I don't believe it's because this is the Thanksgiving stuff. They had all of the Thanksgiving stuff in separate sections, and they also had an entire aisle of mixed candies. Now, usually I do about a half an aisle, 2 to 3 of those big shelf lengths of candy. This was an entire aisle, and it was clear that it wasn't stacked deep. They were hiding the fact they didn't have enough product to keep on that whole aisle. Now, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I do not think that we're getting ready to head into a food recession. I do not want you to worry and stress about food. But this is the kind of thing when you are in a preparedness mindset that you notice and you go, this could be a sign of food delays. This could be a sign of all kinds of problems. My local store could have a problem. My region could be having a problem. The country could be having a problem, or there could be an international problem. And this is where you start doing some research. But this is where, if you have the financial capabilities and the storage, you can make an informed decision to stock ahead. I chose to do that. We have a year's supply of meat. We now have more than 8 weeks supply with these vegetables and these fruits. We've expanded our capacities. I now feel comfortable saying we have close to a 10-week full robust supply before I get into my dedicated food storage, which is on the opposite side of my kitchen. I have them in separate places. I would not need to get into my freeze-dried food. I could work through my canned, my frozen, and my dehydrated, home dehydrated foods, not having to touch the dedicated food storage. I feel good about that. So I wanted to just bring this up, and I wanted to ask, tell me in the comments, have you seen? Do some reconnaissance. Let us know. What are your shelves looking like? And do that due diligence. Do that detective work. Are they stacking things thick? What is your normal? Do they normally only keep 3 or 4 of something on a shelf, or do they normally keep 10 or 12? Are there things that you normally buy that you're not seeing? Are there things that are normally 3 or 4 different varieties of that you're only seeing one? With the kidney beans, those were like the only, it was chili beans, and it was those, like there were 10 cans of kidney beans and I bought 6 of them. And that was it. That was all there was on the shelves. And that is why I bought my kidney beans. So very quickly, here is the dedicated haul. I did get other things, but everything else was things we were planning on eating, not necessarily pantry haul stuff. So I wanted to give you just what I decided to pick up to bulk up my pantry. There are a couple things that I forgot. I will tell you right now, I wanted to get more lemon and lime juice because I don't have backups of those. I've worked through them. And again, I have a working pantry. I don't do the basement deep storage grocery store for a year style pantry. So I have some things in backup, but I don't want to go to my dedicated food storage if I don't have to, because that's dedicated. Okay, so just a quick look at what we have here. I did get some coconut oil. I don't have any on the shelf. We don't use it as much because we have some super tasters who can taste it and don't prefer it, but I got a little bit because it's incredibly shelf stable, has a long shelf life. An extra jar, this is raspberry. If you watched my last pantry walkthrough, you know that raspberry is our favorite and we didn't have any backup. So now we do. 2 more things of applesauce again to really round that out. I got 5 things of pumpkin. This pumpkin is the cheapest that I've been able to find. It was $1.22 a can. And honestly, that is cheaper than buying a physical pumpkin and doing the labor myself for me where I'm at. So I went ahead and got 5 of those. I got 6 cans of kidney beans because we love chili, and I just really wanted to make sure we had enough. I don't keep dried red beans. You have to really soak them well because they can be poisonous if they're not soaked, so I don't actually keep dried red beans. So I like to have lots of canned for chilies. I got another tube of this tomato paste. I really like using this if I can avoid getting the cans. It just makes it easier and it goes in the fridge once it's opened. I do have canned, but I do like to have that for ease. 2 more things of tomato sauce. Again, if you saw my pantry walkthrough, I wanted to have 8. Now I have 8. Now I've got my minimum and I feel good about it. Some instant mashed potatoes. I have the big number 10 cans of these, but I like to use potato flakes in different soup mixes and things. So while this isn't perfect because it's got the butter flavor, it's not just potato flakes, this will do, and I now have more on my shelves. Then we have 5 bags of frozen spinach, 5 bags of mixed veggies. I have 1 bag of blueberries because that was all that they had of the blueberries, and then 3 of the berry medley. There were a couple more, but I decided that was probably enough for us because we do have some. And then I have between the 3 of these 6 pounds of frozen potatoes, 2 tater tots, 1 thin cut French fry. I will probably actually go back and buy another 2 or 3 bags. So this is my grocery pantry related haul, okay, just for the pantry stocking. This is not the everyday foods we're gonna eat. I decided to not put those in. I wanted you to see just what I was using for my pantry bulk, and I will pop up on the screen what this cost me, just these items. So now you've seen my haul, and I want to know what you'd be purchasing. Now that you've done your reconnaissance, when you go to the grocery store, you're thinking like a detective, you are doing your investigative work. What are you going to be adding to your pantry? Do you need to add anything? This is not a place to panic, okay? No panicking allowed. This is being prepared. This is using your observational skills to make decisions now that will set you up in the future. This also is going to be helpful if we do end up having a food recession. The food will be the cheapest now that it will probably be if we do end up having shortages or anything like that. So buying it now, if you have the funds only, okay? Mama Brecky is telling you right now, do not overspend, okay? What would you be adding to your shelves? Would you be like me and adding some frozen goods? Would you be looking at meats and dairies? Would you be looking at really stocking up on those long-term shelf-stable items, canned goods, rice, beans? Now, like I said, I have been doing this for a long time. I have dedicated food storage that is already packaged for long-term shelf stability. I have my working pantry that I'm constantly rotating through. It's not as thick as some people, right? Some people stock a year's supply in their pantry. I do not have the room to do that. And I also like a system where I can be rotating things more quickly. That just feels better for me and my family. I want to know what you're going to be purchasing. I want to hear your reconnaissance. I want to know what your shelves look like and how you're responding. This community is here to be uplifting and empowering, not fear-mongering. This is not a place where I want us to focus on the doom and gloom. Instead, I want us to focus on what is going to help us be empowered for that next potential crisis. My friends, I hope you're doing super well. I'm actually going to pop a video right here of how you can take frozen vegetables and dehydrate them in a dehydrator and put them in glass jars to free up shelf space in your freezer. This is super useful if you only have that little tiny freezer space above your fridge so you can maximize it. This is great for recession proofing a pantry. I'm going to leave that link right there for you so that you can watch it and you can be empowered, learn that skill, have that done for yourselves. Until the next video, my dear friends, I hope you are well and happy prepping.